So I thought I'd make another video. I'm gonna go really deep very deep in details about everything that's going on with the whole Lakina Chin thing. If this was a transgender or not. Jeremy Keene was the actual person that went to me at the mall to buy that stuffed rabbit. It was like a $100, $75 rabbit, large, like Playboy bunny looking rabbit. And I was with Jeremy Keene, and this is so fucking crazy, and this is so predatorial behavior, this homosexuality, and people don't understand, because I'm not sure if you're ever going to get enough answers and responses from people and saying, okay, what did Lakina Chin do? And no, you don't understand that the entire school knew that I was always engaged. She was engaging and trying to talk to me. In fact, I gave her this stuffed rabbit in front of the cafeteria, in front of everyone, a bunch of people. And then she ran up and just gave me a hug, or like kind of jumped up and gave me a hug on her birthday, or his birthday. This is fucking. But I didn't know that this person was a transgender at all. I mean, if I would have 100% ran away and been so fooled, because you don't understand that every day I'm walking along with Richard Murphy, John, Vasily, Cisco, and Jeremy. Specifically Richard Murphy and Jeremy. Jeremy and Richard Murphy were like I was best friends with through middle school. That was the year, that was like, for like, because I was hanging around Robert all the time, and at that time, every other week, like 1 week I would be with Richard after school, and then the other week I would be over at Robert Zarati's. When Robert Zarati wasn't around, I'd be at Jeremy's. But I was in 8th grade at DeWitt Perry, and I was very extensively, the whole school knew about it. It was like, I was pretty popular, very popular. I know it's a stupid word, but I was very popular in 8th grade. I wore Jinkos, and I wore, polo t-shirts. And I smoked weed, and I knew where all the drug dealers were. And I knew older males that were older than me, and shaking my hands. And that was like the thing, right? Because when you're a kid, that's cool, and people praise you for that, and you're looking for acceptance. And I really wasn't looking for it as much as other people were. People were always trying to shake my hands when I was like in 8th grade, trying to say, hey, how you doing, Hector? Hey, what's up? Like I was a cool person because you shook my hand, and it made you kind of feel cool. And I was a very nice person to always a lot of people. So everyone knew of who I was trying to engage with. And let me tell you something. Lakina Chin, I was in class, in my history class, Mr. Dustin's class, and I remember Lakina Chin, she sat in front of me, and I would always be talking to this person. And I remember Chris Kemp looking directly at us, because he used to always watch us talk in front. And the class used to be like, very much like where people would throw paper airplanes in class. Right? And the teacher would be talking. And it was two on complete sides. Group of kids on this side, a group of kids on this side. And I remember her kind of glazing over my hand. I don't know what it was. She needed to grab a pencil or something. She goes, oh gosh, you have real beautiful hands. And I wanted to say this because I do recall Chris Kemp looking, and I don't know, and he was staring at this person, like, and I remember sort of staring, like, particularly, it's a type of stare that he was questioning something. And I don't know if he knew, and I don't want to say he wasn't insinuating, but he was staring at this person like he knew something more. Like it was a very still face, like he was thinking something. And right behind her sat Crystal Lether. So this is a beautiful redheaded girl, and she used to try to talk to me. And this is a beautiful redhead. She had beautiful developed tits by the time she was in 8th grade. I'm talking about like perfect tits, and she was thick, beautiful, plush, thick red hair. And she sat right behind Chris Kemp, like next to this other girl named Kathy. I think her name was Katie or something. But I remember Crystal, I didn't talk to her during that year, but I remember her sort of like, you could sort of tell there was interest, but at that time, all the whites, usually girls, and the preppy girls were segregated in a different part of the school. I hung around the white kids only because it was a heavily populated Mexican school, but there were males. But as far as the white girls go, they were segregated in some other area, and I didn't really hang out with them or associate with them. They were either considered the good kids or the white kids that just they were white. They get a privileged, more white life. But I recall, and I think it's important because they're shooting my face right now with these electronic devices, is I remember at the end of the year, she somehow got Robert Girardi's number, and it was very frequent for girls to get Robert Girardi's numbers trying to contact me because I didn't know some of them had obsessions about me. And so I remember, I don't know how it happened, somehow, and Crystal had no reason to be talking to Robert Girardi. It was weird. But somehow he got her number, or she gave her number to him, and I want to say she's the one that gave her number to him. And they talked on the phone a couple of times, and she was showing a lot of interest in me. And I remember Robert Girardi telling me that she was asking me about me, and this is how some of the girls would be. They would get near my friend and then start asking about me. So I say this because, obviously I found her attractive, but, within a couple of phone call talks that he had with her over the phone, I think he disconnected with her, didn't call her again, and I don't know what it was. I really don't know, but I just knew that he did mention, this is like the last month of the school, or last 2 months, that she showed interest. She was like, had a crush on me or some shit, and I don't know what the situation was. She was a beautiful girl. She was unbelievably beautiful, but at that time, especially, there was a lot of sort of segregation. She was kind of grouped up with like the white preppy kids that not only were well off but just not smart, but they were sort of pushed into this whole white area. And anyway, she was really into Mexican kids. I were guys, but I don't know what the situation of her life was. I don't know her personally. But I want to say this because I remember her looking at Lakina and looking at her like mad and upset, like looking at her like, as she kept on trying to engage with me in conversation, because she kept on turning around and trying to talk to me and flirt with me and engage constantly. And this is in front of the entire class, and I remember her very distinctively looking at her like a very piercing eye in a way that was different from Chris Kemp, but it was in a way that like, what are you doing? And looking at her like, and this is in 8th grade. I don't know what the puberty is for development for teenagers figuring out that this guy that has a pair of balls and a dick is dressing like a female and acting like a female. And I don't know what that situation is. So I thought I would say something about this because Jeremy Keene is the one that went with me. It's a very shade for me beyond anything that I can express because I really didn't know. And I remember I talked about it with Richard Murphy. Oh, did you see Lakina, or did you see what Lakina was wearing? Not one time. And this is 12 months out of the fucking year. it was the thing in the entire school that I was talking to this person, individual. And Cisco knew. Cisco was walking with us and knew about this. He saw her, he talked to her, Richard Murphy, Jeremy, John Masilli, Richard, they had classes with this person. And Jeremy used to talk to Lakina in a class, in one or two classes frequently. And I want to say this because Richard Murphy knew about this. This was like, you know how when your teenage kids sort of have their crush on a girl or sort of interest in someone, and they sort of kind of talk about this interest of that individual. It was like that when I went to his house, especially Jeremy's. Jeremy was the one that was very guiding me to do that, to go buy the gift for her, and like, oh, okay, you can talk to Lakina. Oh, okay, you can talk, like doing this entire time. Cisco was walking with us at DeWitt Burial and had classes with this person, and he was hanging out with us. So I figured I'd talk about it. Look, if my brother Frankie can get fucked in his ass by 10 fucking homosexual men and all this rape shit that's going on, then I might as well talk as much as details about what tragedy shit I'm going through. So whatever it is that's going to go through, before they fix it, they're going to get their money and privilege and then fuck you because it's the president and their Jesus Christ movement. But there's nothing that I can do about it no more. My mother is as stupid as a fucking bag of rocks and just throwing them at me. That bitch is not my biological mother, but my mother's twin. My biological mother is mentally handicapped, but it doesn't fucking matter. Barack Obama is playing my mother like a horse, worthless bitch, fucking my mother in the ass whenever he wants to and does whatever he wants. It's exactly what he's fucking doing. I know I have an imprint. I have a blueprint. If there is human beings have souls or connection, there is an immediate understanding of what my mother would think of that fucking black family and that nigger, what he would have been doing to me. All these black people that have all this, yeah, I know Mariah Carey too, right? That have all their music and all this other shit, they run everything. What matters to my fucking goddamn mother is like a poor village and a lady left alone to die, and all did nothing but, try to give love and care and sacrifice herself for this monkey to go look to how he can charge at me at a grocery store and threaten me several times. And like I said, there was nothing polite. It was very aggressive. He actually walked up behind me one day when I was at a grocery store, and he grabbed a bunch of groceries behind me, like as I was trying to take away Marissa or Miranda, whatever the fuck her name is, and aggressively like crazy, and like he was going to eventually do something. And they're justifying it with their fucking platoon. This sergeant that looks like Barack Obama that's following me on the bus and at the grocery stores, and some of the other people that are organizing over there. So I can't do anything about this anymore. I know exactly what my mother would be hating is saying. The fact that I'm her only straight child and she's literally being fucked in her ass to give me something in life, and you're just giving it to Patricia Godino, your transgender daughter, because that's where you feel. And that's what, that's where you... Yeah, I know and exactly what my mother would be saying about Michelle Obama, but they don't want to say because it's the president, the goddamn motherfuckers, and George Bush too, huh? Because you're black niggas, oh no, it's for your whites now. Don't rape my mother again, you got lucky with some more twins though, huh? Oh no, it's white power, Ken and Sarah Cooper though, huh? Oh no, it's Mexican over there too. No, it's not. Oh no, is he confusion? But as far as I have anything to say, I use that money that my mother gave me to buy that person that bear. I don't know how I got a hold of $70, $100. I can't remember what I did. I don't think I worked. I could have worked. I don't think I did. I didn't have a job by that time. Did I mow any lawns? I might have. I don't think I did. I can't remember, but I want to say I think it was my mother's money she gave me. Somehow, some way I earned it or got it, or just she happened to give me some extra money, or I saved it up. But anyway, I thought I would say something about this. I can't believe this. Jeremy Cisco they all fucking knew about this shit. Especially Richard Murphy and Cisco and Jeremy. Those are the top three, because even I didn't really talk about it too much with John Basili, even though we all walked together. They saw Lakina, they saw me trying to talk Lakina, all this other shit. So, but Cisco, I remember him looking at me and like, I swear to God, I remember there's no more the person than those three, especially more than any, is Jeremy and Richard. Because those were the two closest people I was very close to in school, and going to their house every weekend. Every single weekend I was going to their house. But like I said, I think she's Korean. That's what I think. I think that person's Korean. And they were Buddhist. They were Buddhist, and the family was Buddhist. Because I talked to this person over the phone several times. And I wanted to say something about this. Her brother was sort of protective over her. And I don't know if it was because he knew that she was engaging and doing this to the other kids, or it was to maybe fend me off. But I remember that very well. Her brother, fairly large, he was probably heavyset like me, but he was kind of a jokester. I really didn't know him, but I remember he was kind of just trying to sort of fend off her. Like, sort of fend me off, like, and I talked about this. There's a guy by the name of Charlie or something like that. I had him on my Instagram. He was an Asian guy. That guy showed up after I showed up at her house. He showed up at her house after I left, and he was real stocky and built, and that was supposed to be her boyfriend for several years, but they broke up. Now, I say that this guy was huge. For an Asian guy, this guy was fucking really big. Without a doubt, this guy would have beat my ass, and he was in the 9th or 10th grade, but this guy was huge. This guy was a really big person, built. And I remember him showing up right before I left, and I want to say it was the same day that Claudia showed up. The day that Claudia showed up, this girl I'd never met before, and she came in just for a few minutes, and she made sure she looked directly at me, and then she looked over, like she sort of glazed over, like I don't think he understands or knows what's going on. What are you doing? Like, and I remember that. But to me, I can't identify that this person is a transgender. So I thought it was important for me to say something about this, because I can't do anything about this, what a disgrace. I don't know what else to say. This is for the faggot movements, and it's just the toxicity about being around these faggots and homosexuals, how powerful they are, and how they navigate through life and doing a lot of poisonous shit and behavior, and far intoxicating that people really understand. And even as kids, and how the adults tell the kids to do this, because all the teachers at that school knew about this. Coach Sullivan knew about this. This motherfucker's the one that would charge me at a couple of times. This guy's a homosexual. He was the one there with Mr. Burns, and I was in 7th grade defending Marissa Morena's dead body. There were several other teachers in that school. There were teachers in that school. I think there was this one transgender teacher that was there, and that Richard really liked, and said that she always treated Richard really good. And I think this was like a tall transgender. I think it was teacher. But I remember very vigorously what these teachers were. There were a lot of them were playing along with this shit, and none of them said anything. I had one day, it's in 8th grade, this lady's probably not alive anymore. I don't know if this person's a transgender too. Could be. And I remember this, she was an old lady. And I remember in the middle of class, I was in 8th grade, and you could tell Crystal Fuentes heard this, because she got really blushed, and everyone froze just looking at me, and I was blushing. my math teacher out of nowhere was writing stuff on the overhead and was looking over at me, and she said, "Gosh, Hector, you have the most beautiful eyes." In front of the entire class, and it came out of nowhere, in front of just a very still, quiet moment, and I was just blushing, and I just smiled, and because I was paying attention to the class overhead, and I didn't say anything, and all the teachers were just kind of looking, and then the teacher went and sat back down. It was a math teacher, and it was like two doors down from Mr. Dustin's class. But if you find out who this teacher is, math teacher, look to find out if this person's a transgender. I don't think they were. They might have. You can find out if this math teacher is a transgender or not, whether this transgender teacher was purposely doing that to influence me, or purposely doing that to be careful, Hector. Don't let this one get you. But this person was a math teacher. I don't think she was an older lady. She was like 60 years old. She's not alive anymore, but she was a math teacher, and I was in 8th grade. I think it was like maybe my first semester. But it was my first or second semester. Obviously, there's only 2 in 8th grade. But Crystal Fuentes, I remember I was talking to her all the time in class, and Jeremy was claiming that he was always trying to hook up with her. Anyway, I thought I would say something. And I thought it was important for me to say something because I'm pretty sure, Crystal Fuentes was a natural female. And I remember her being in class. And I remember her being in class. You know what it kind of makes me think? It makes me think of Vettel. Is Vettel a transgender? No, I don't think she is. Could be. My cousin. So anyway, I thought I would say something about this. So as far as it goes with this particular situation, I remember Crystal Fuentes, and there was another girl who sat in front of her. That person makes me now think that person was a transgender. They kind of look like a transgender. I don't know. But I had Crystal Fuentes in Miss Hughes' class. You can ask her, she could probably tell you very profound details of what happened in the classes, and she had several classes on Lakina as well. But I recall the behavior was just like I don't think I want to say, because I was really buddy friends with her, like I was a friend, not necessarily like I was trying to come on to her, because Jeremy told me he wanted to hook up with her. But I got along with her as far as friendships and joking around. I got along with her really, really good, like laughing like a friend, like a really good, really, really good friend. It really was a really good friend with Crystal Fuentes in classes, and specifically in my language arts class. So I wanted to say this, I want to give more details of this particular situation. I'm telling you right now, Jeremy Keene, that's why he showed up when he got bit by that dog. Because he's a military soldier now, and then he wanted to cover up what he had done and make mistakes. That's exactly what he did. He's the one that took me, he's the one who went with me intentionally before we even got to the mall to buy that stuffed rabbit. He was there with me. He went with me. We're picking out the gift. And so, and Richard, I talked to him several times, but when I'm looking back at his behavior and him biting his nails, it makes me think very much of him trying to fool me and trying to figure out what the situation was. And as soon as he finds out when I'm in 9th or 10th grade, this guy's not gay, they're like, oh shit, Lakina, oh shit, well, okay, now we gotta ditch him, now we gotta use his resources and take whatever he wants, take whatever he can get, and then fuck you. That's why. Because the parents put the pressure on the kids, and then free house.